All right, we're working related rate problems, and of course we're starting off with some fairly simple stuff here. We're always going to start off with an equation, and then they're going to ask us, right, to find something. For example, we're going to find dy over dt, and then we're going to be given some information over here. And this time I'm going to be using some units, centimeters over seconds. So this should look familiar to you. X squared plus y squared is equal to 16. We want to find dy over dt. And when dx over dt is equal to 4 centimeters per second, and x is equal to 3 centimeters. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're going to take the derivative of it, each one of these variables with respect to t. So we take the derivative of x squared and you get 2x, and then we tack on this dx over dt, plus we take the derivative of y squared, which is 2y, and we tack on dy over dt, and of course the derivative of 16 is 0. So we want to find dy over dt. Well, here's our dy over dt. We need to plug in a y, plug in for x, and then solve for dy over dt. Well, let's see what they give us over here. They give us a dx over dt, so we're going to plug 4 into here. And then they give us an x, which is 3, and then we'll put 3 in here. But what they don't give us is a y. So where in the heck are we going to find that at? Well, we can come right back up here to our original equation and just do that. We can solve for y in here by taking this x right here, which is a 3, plugging it in, and then solving for y. So then we'll have our y. So then we can plug our y in and then just go ahead and solve for dy over dt. And we'll talk about this, what's going on over here on the right hand side here in a minute. So we're plugging in for x right here, and then we're going to solve for y. So it looks like y happens to be the square root of 7 after you solve for y, right? 9, take it over to the right hand side, 16 minus 9, and then take the square root of both sides to get rid of this square. Alright, you get square root of 7. And then what we're going to do is, so I went ahead and plugged in up here, what's going on up here if you're wondering. I went ahead and plugged in our x, then plugged in our dx over dt, and I hadn't quite plugged in our y yet, but I think we're going to do that right down here below. Okay, we took the square root of 7 and we plugged it in right here, and now all we got to do is some algebra and solve for dy over dt. Taking the 24 over to the right hand side makes it a negative 24, and then dividing both sides by 2 over the square root of 7, as you can see here. And then we need to simplify this down. So we simplify it down, and if you notice now here at the end I've thrown my units in. So since we were started with our units of centimeters per second, we need to go ahead and put those in now. So it's kind of hard to judge what in the world is this, right? Well, I went ahead and just approximated it to 2 decimal places like I normally do, just approximate to 2 decimal places. No real reason why 2 decimal places, I just chose 2 decimal places. Alright, so it's, and that actually should be negative right there. Let's change that. Okay, went ahead and made that change, so that's a negative 4.54 centimeters per second. Alright, well, in this part of the problem here, which is extra, I'd have to say, what I've done here is, as you can see, the y that normally is right here, I replaced it with the square root of 16 minus x squared. And remember up there in our original, x squared plus y squared was equal to 16. I went ahead and solved for y in that equation. And so now what we are going to have is we're going to have something that's more general here. And that is, we're going to have this equation here so that when we plug in some x value, we can see what dy over dt is, right, for some x value. So it's just a more general setting. And let's see what I do down here. Alright, so I went ahead and solved for dy over dt by taking the 8x over to the right hand side, which is a 4x, but when I divided both sides by 2 over the square root of 16 minus x2, 2 goes into 8 4 times, right? Just simplifying it down.